BFG X. I don't know what's going on.
I'm on a podcast, gang. BFG podcast, bound for greatness.
This is about to be the best podcast interview Philly's ever seen.
Welcome to the BFG podcast, your boy YRA.
It's your boy Swaggy B.
Today we got two special guests. Introduce yourself.
What up?
Jamir Shaw, one half, dope shows, dope records.
Steph Piner, my half, dope records, dope shows.
What's going on with y'all? Y'all feeling today?
Good, man.
Feeling good.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, that's good, man. So I wanna start from the beginning. How did you guys two link up in the beginning initially?
Mir cousin Ricky, 80s baby Ricky on the gram. He used to do parties in the city, and he was like, I want to introduce you to my cousin, like, you know what I mean? He'd do parties or whatever, like, but he just, we kind of met through him. And Rick, I used to be his camp counselor, like back in the day on some young boy shit. I was a camp counselor, and he introduced me to Mir, and we connected from there. Yeah.
And from there, we was just talking about doing like a business together. Yeah. At first, it was supposed to be like a nightclub, but because for years I had did like nightclub stuff for like 10 years prior. So we was talking about doing a nightclub, but I had seen like the trends in the city where the nightclubs, like they would fade out or like they would have like a quick run. And we both had this idea, like just on our own separate of just how like we both was infatuated with concerts. But we had seen like from the party world, like when artists was attached to, or artists was coming to the city or artists being attached to your events, well, like the whole city would pour out. So we was like, instead of trying to do like a nightclub or something that could phase out, like let's do something that could be around forever and like something we could really build. And from starting it, it was like we didn't want it to be about us. Like in the beginning, we never really did interviews. We never really talked about anything about us personally. It was always just like dope shows and the brand and like just pushing that. Yeah. So that's kind of like how we started or how we met.
So before all that, where did y'all first get like your entrepreneurship like mind from? Like where did that come
did you guys already have the entrepreneurship mindset?
Yeah, I was doing real estate. I was flipping a lot of cribs in Philly, like West Philly, Southwest, like all over kinda. And I probably flipped maybe 30 cribs or whatever. I was doing a bunch of real estate, getting them, like doing the construction, running the crew, all that type of stuff. So I kind of had my entrepreneur stuff from that. And then Mir had...
I would say mine started with like my family, honestly. Mm-hmm. Like my grandmom, like my dad, mom, my great grandpop. Like it was a lot of people in my family that had businesses. So when I was growing up, I started throwing parties at like 12 years old though. So when I was younger, I used to feel like I wanted to do something like a nightclub or like a restaurant because that was what I seen. But I would say it started, like my roots of the entrepreneurship started with me watching other entrepreneurs in my family like really make a huge difference for my family. Like and really become wealthy and like it changed the dynamic of our family was what made me want to do my own business. And then from throwing parties, that's what made me want to do it like in the entertainment space.
Was y'all like ever like in a space where like y'all was nervous to do anything? Like, you know, some people risk tolerance is higher than others. Did you guys always have like a high risk tolerance? Not scared to lose?
Yeah, definitely. I know I did from like flipping properties because like you buy a crib and you don't know which way it's gonna go. Like it could go great or you could lose money. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like going into this is like, all right, like we might have to put up 20, 30, 40. I mean, way more than that now, but like whatever amount of money and like try to get it back. So I felt like I was cool with it. Mir was doing parties. They was doing the same type of thing with that. So it was like, yeah, like I feel like our risk tolerance was probably kind of high. I remember like booking Fab for the first time because our first show was Fab and Kiss. And I think we had to put 20,000 down or whatever. And like I remember taking it down to the TD Bank at on South Street, putting the money in an account. And I was like, man, we don't know if the money going to come back at all. You know what I mean? But we just had faith in what we was going to do, how we was going to promote, how we was going to go at it, like really touch everybody in the city and do everything that we needed to do to sell a show out. So we knew we was going to do that. So, you know.
Did you guys already have like people that was already behind y'all? Like, did you guys have a name before y'all got into this, or y'all just put y'all money where your mouth was and just did it?
No, we just put our money where our mouth was. When we started the company, we booked. We talked about in December. We talked about starting a business, and it was December 2016. Yeah. And we talked about doing dope shows. And from there, we booked in January. We booked Fab and Jadakiss, and it was like that's when we announced dope shows to the world. Yeah. It was like once we had our first show booked, because coming from the party world, you seen a lot of people like say that they was going to do something or make an announcement about a big company they about to start, and then you don't really see the work that come from it. For us, it was like we wanted to always put the work first.
Always wanted to put the work first.
So when it come to y'all business, was it more like trial and error, or did y'all like seek like actual knowledge how to actually do a business, like when it comes to like going to that next level with dope shows?
No, it was really trial and error. Like I always say the first 3 shows we did, we sold out. And we thought we was on a high horse. We thought we like knew everything. Yeah. And our 4th show, we lost $100,000 in one day. Yeah. But I feel like that's the show we learned everything. Because now when you lose the money, now you start looking at literally everything and like how you doing it. And I feel like from that show, that's when we started creating like our true blueprint that we still use today.
Yeah. When y'all lost that money, what made y'all not to quit? Like be all right, it's over.
We shout out to Mont. He was with P&B, P&B Rock and Mont from that crew from what's the name? New Lane from New Lane. We had put P&B Rock on that show in Baltimore where we lost $100,000. We had Jeezy, P&B Rock, YBS Scola, and I think that was it. Philly. Yeah, a bunch of Philly artists. We had Pound Sign Pop back then on the this was like when he had on some Shit Boy. I think that's when it first
2016,
dropped.
2015.
Yeah, we had put him on that show. We had created a relationship with Rock, and we had lost 100, and we was like, damn, what are we gonna do? But through that relationship that we had, when we went on like a little break trying to build the business back up, we had ended up like being able to book Rock for his homecoming show in Philly. We did 2 shows one day at the Fillmore, and that was like, he was trying to get like a higher number, like from like other like the Live Nations of the world or whatever, Powerhouse, trying to get a higher number. We ended up coming and giving him the number that he wanted and having a relationship with Mont and booked him, and we sold out and we got back on our feet. He introduced us to A Boogie with the Hoodie because we wanted to book A Boogie with the Hoodie before Fab. That was the first artist we really wanted to book, but we didn't get to him. But they introduced us to A Boogie with the Hoodie. We did him next, and like just on and on and on. Going. Yeah, it just kept going. But through the relationship, when we lost 100, we still made out because we had created a great relationship with P&B Rock and them.
Damn, it's tough.
So, all right, when it comes to like artists, even though like y'all paying them, do y'all feel like it's important to get a good relationship with them?
Yeah,
for sure. Because in the beginning, I used to feel kind of like we spending the money. I used to feel like what you saying, like whereas like we spending the money, so we paying you to be here, so you need to do whatever it is we asking you to do, or if you don't, it's like you breaching your contract, or you not doing what you not trying to have a good relationship with us. Yeah. But what we learned is in the business is like all of these artists is close to each other. So it's like you have a good relationship with one artist. Like Steph just said, it's like we was close with P&B Rock. He ended up introducing us to A Boogie with the Hoodie. It's like we close with Lil Durk. He introduced us to so many other artists and like allowed us the opportunity to do so many other artists and connect us with so many camps. That like it really work out. So it'd be better to just make it like about the relationship and not about like
just
the small stuff. Yeah, like
even that relationship with Durk. Like I remember we booked him for the festival, our first festival, Dope Fest in 2019. Think about how crazy this lineup is. So we had Lil Durk. Just now, like now it seemed crazy, but back then it was like they was all new. So we had Lil Durk, NBA YoungBoy, Roddy Ricch, The Baby, P&B Rock. Who else we had?
Young Dog, Pusha T,
Cowboy. Yeah. We had Sim Santana on there, Young K. We put on there. Rocky was on there. We had like all of these people. But
even back then,
that shit was crazy.
They was kind of like smaller guys though back then.
Yeah. But Durk had ended up getting
crazy.
Yeah, he ended up getting in some trouble where he couldn't do the date or whatever, and like where we from is like, damn, what you mean you can't do the date? Like it was like a big thing for us, but it's like we kind of worked through that with him, and we was able to like put him on another show where we had it at the Fillmore, and we sold out with him. But in that situation, they didn't want us to put out there like, oh, Durk going through whatever he was going through at that time. They didn't want us to put it out there, and our relationship just let us stay solid. We ain't put it out there. We was able to book him again, and we was able to grow from booking him for $20,000 to booking him for way more than that, and doing way more seats than, just keep growing him in Philly. And it started with that relationship and at the festival in 2019.
So when stuff like that happen, like how do y'all deal with people that like bought tickets and stuff?
For a festival, is like the lineup is subject to change because there's so many different artists. So you kind of just roll through it when if it's like a one-off show, or if everybody is there to see that one artist, then you kind of postpone it, or you may got to refund people just depending on the situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanna go back a little bit because I wanna get like the audience like an insight on y'all. Like how was it for like y'all growing up? And what made y'all become like what y'all are now? Like growing up to now.
I would say for me, I was born, raised West Philly. I always was like fascinated with like the street culture and like just the hip hop culture, entertainment. I feel like I had a lot of, just growing up in the hood, I had a lot of people around me that had street stuff going on. But I always looked at it like I lost my older brother when I was younger. So I feel like that kind of like shaped me in a way of like, I'm fascinated with the street stuff, but I want to try to figure out a way to where like my mom ain't gonna lose me too. Or like I don't get killed in that type of mindset. So I was like, I'm gonna go to college, or I'm gonna try to figure out some type of business stuff. So young, I was saying like, I'm gonna be a millionaire, and I thought I was gonna do it in the club scene or like the party world. But I always knew like I would try to figure out something with business. And I was saying that young. Like I went to college 18 for business management and marketing. When I came out of school, I was still promoting parties, and I ended up, it's crazy how we know each other is I was working at Mastery Charter for 7 years as a dean. That wasn't like nothing I thought I was going to end up doing, but opportunity presented itself. I felt like it made sense at the time, and I did it. And while I was there, I was just building myself up, learning more about myself. I always say like that was one of the most impactful things I've done, because I was really able to learn myself as a man, and then like learn how to pour into other people from being like giving the youth the guidance on a regular basis. Like every day I showed up to work and had to be like Mr. Shaw, and was like a father figure for so many kids, and was like really guiding a school of young boys for real. So I feel like that was always in me, of like caring about my community, like caring about the people that's around me, or like just always like, even now, and it's like we both live in Miami, we still choose to come to Philly and celebrate our city. Like I just always loved Philly. I feel like it just made me who I am today, and I feel like that's kind of what got me here at this point. Because like Dope Shows started, I was already at the school when we started that. It was like something I always wanted to do, but I was always like just trying to grow as a man.
You said something that resonate with me too. Like you did something that people think is not possible, right? So like growing up in the hood, you think all you could do is you want to sell drugs, you want to do this. Y'all found a way. Y'all went to college. You went and you got experience with being around the youth. So that gave you more people skills to go ahead and then start some shit that just take over and just showing other people that you could do it.
Yeah. And college was important though, because in college I started studying like all these big brands, right? I was studying like Nike, Apple, and those was like the breeding grounds for me. Of like I always felt like when I did a business, I wanted to be competing with them. I wanted to feel like the business was as big as like Apple or as big as like Nike. So it's like when we started Dope Shows, it was that mindset of like, we gonna be just as big as all our competitors, all these big multi-million, billion-dollar brands.
Yeah.
Marketing is like the most important thing for
sure,
the most part.
for sure.
But yeah,
Yeah.
my fault. Go ahead.
No, that's cool. I'm from West Philly too. I went to West Catholic for high school. I went to Kutztown for college. I played football. I was good. I was a good running back at West Catholic. And like similar situation, like my brother, he was. I had a lot of people around me that was into the streets, drugs, all that stuff, like selling drugs, whatever. And he died when I was 10. He was 17, but he was like a hustler. So I seen his hustler spirit, but I'm like, I don't really want to like die at 17. I don't want to go through what he went through. So I'm like, I really want to take it and be on some business stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I still got all the wherewithal, like what it's like to have people around me that's in the streets and all that type of stuff. So I took that. I went to college. I ended up working at Citizens Bank for 6 years. I started off as a teller. I was a branch manager. I was a business banker. So through that process, when I was a branch manager, I used to see the type of money that people was having. It's like, oh, this guy, this the guy that owned this, and like, oh, he got this much money in his account. So it started to click for me, and then transitioning from there to like the business banking side, I used to work with businesses like, oh, like this business make $20 million a year, and they got a business on Aramango Avenue, but they selling whatever they selling. And it's like that concept for me, like it always stuck with me. And it's like, I really want to start a business. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up they had like a home buyers program at Citizens Bank, and I ended up like buying my first crib. It was in Southwest on Linmore Avenue. And I think the crib was like maybe 30, 40 grand at that time.
I know what that's at.
And I got it. I rented it out, had a little tenant. Me and my uncle fixed it up. And, I rented it for a couple years. Then I ended up selling it. When I sold it, I made it a little money. And I was able to start and flip that into more properties. And after like working for the bank for 6 years, I got laid off, but I had like a severance package. So I took the severance package that I got from that, and I started like my whole real estate business, and I just start flipping cribs like over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So just early on, just the ingenuity from like seeing who had money and like what it took for them to get that and what they was doing. Like I felt like I learned that from like schooling and then like the banking world and stuff like that. So yeah, that's
nice. And you know it's crazy that like I feel like you understand like the money side and you understand like the marketing side for the most part.
It's crazy. It's crazy you say that because when we first started, we used to always say like we both help each other in every area, especially at this point in the business. But when we first started, we used to say like Steph handled more of the operational stuff and I'm more of the marketing side. Yeah. And that was kind of how we played it. And Steph would give ideas marketing wise. I would help with operational stuff, but that was kind of how we was defining our roles. Now it's kind of intertwined. We both do really everything in the business. For sure. It's crazy that you would pick that. I'm just saying it's crazy you would pick that up just from these conversations because that's really how we was in the business in the beginning.
When y'all first came together, was there like a lot of disagreements when it came to like starting the business, how stuff was gonna go?
I wouldn't say it was a lot of disagreements, but I think partnerships is hard in general. Yeah. I think that like when me and Steph met each other, it was like we was both in our or I was probably early 30s, he was probably late 30s, and it was like, all right, we starting a business together, but we both got all of this knowledge that we done learned, or we both got ways about us. So it was like now you bringing those together and y'all trying to decide on y'all got to agree on everything that y'all do pretty much. So it's like it's unrealistic to think that like y'all gonna always agree on everything. But I feel like with us is like I always say like we built a brotherhood. So it's like it's bigger than dope shows for real. It's bigger than like just us being partners in the business. It's like we really like brothers at this point. So it's like it's times where me and Steph could argue today about something, we could disagree, but we not about to not dap each other up before we leave each other. It's no like we not disrespecting each other. It's just like we both passionate about this business. Like we say all the time, like dope shows is really like a kid. Like it's like this baby that we put in the world, and it's like you trying to like get it. You trying to grow it, raise it, grow it, scale it up, turn it to like $1 billion company at some point. So it's like we thinking like that. Y'all not gonna always agree. Yeah. And it's not a bad thing though.
No,
like,
it's not. That's part of life.
Like nowadays, it seems like when people try to come together to do something, like shit always go bad. They end up breaking up or something, stuff like that.
But I think it started with the respect. Like we both got a lot of respect for each other. So like I respect Steph as a man first before anything else. Yeah. So it's like even if he don't like this idea or we can't see eye to eye on it, it's never like I'm mad at him. It ain't like it's like I understand it. Like I understand where you coming from with it. I even see I feel like it's just even sometimes it's operational. Like we got different backgrounds too. Like we two different people. So
like
you're not gonna agree on everything.
Everybody think different, but it's just y'all gotta find a way to like always meet.
And it's like compromise, right? It's sometimes I say like I don't agree with that, but let's roll with it. And like sometimes it be times where I didn't agree with this, but it ended up being a great idea. I'm sure it's
that's how like the relationship get better in the business.
And I feel like that's vital. That's vital too. Like some of my homies don't agree like together, but like if everybody agrees, I'm gonna just trust what my homies say. Yeah, because I'm like, all right, they probably got the right knowledge when it come to it. You gotta trust your brothers. It's part of the game.
And it's like if y'all fell together, then it's like
And you got to think about too is like we've been in this business almost 8 years, so it's been things that we both have been passionate about. It's been things that we both been like we could run through the wall about this idea and it fell. So it's like you don't really. It's no cookie cutter way to feel about it. So it's like all right, that sometimes I just gotta roll with what Steph's saying. I'm sure sometimes he feel like dang, I'm gonna just roll with what you saying.
So I got another question for her. All right, what motivates y'all like to keep going?
I think like one big motivator is like obviously being from here, but like when we moved to Miami, like waking up every day, how it is in Miami, like seeing a lot of the things that we see, I think is super motivational every day. And just even moving to Miami, just having it to where as though, like, you being around people that's really scaling their business and like knowing it's possible to like have your business be worth $100 million, have your business being worth $200 million, knowing what a valuation is of a business is like where we come from is like, what is that? It's like we didn't have nobody to tell us like, no, like scale your business like this, set your businesses up like that, and it's gonna be worth something. It's gonna be worth this one day. It's like a lot of the stuff that we kind of grew up under. I mean, like I can speak for myself. Mayor may say the same thing, but like it's very limited. It's like it's a cap on it. But I feel like moving to Miami and having that motivation and like seeing people that scale from like nothing to like a whole lot of something is like that's motivational every day. And I feel like we want to be that twist on Philly in that way, like just in the business sense with the shows and with the label, like really is about like how to really build a business because it's out here for us. It's like we got the ability to do everything that we want to do. It's right here for us, and we can do anything we want to do if we put our mind to it. It sounds cheesy, but like it's really a real thing. And I feel like just being out there, I feel like I get a lot of motivation from that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do y'all feel like people in Philly, like most people in Philly, have like a cap on how big they think they could like do something?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also think it's like is limits in itself because like it's times where we did a partnership with Live Nation. It wasn't nobody. We was one of the first companies that did a partnership with Live Nation in that way. So it was like we couldn't go to none of our peers and ask them or talk to them about like partnerships that they did. I think it's just the business here is not at that level yet.
Right.
And there's nobody like to get inspired from too. Like it's like it's hard to like to find that people that are like, all right, yeah, they doing their thing with that. Like with us, our inspiration, like Wallow and Gilly. Yeah. So we see them on the streets. We see them walking around. We talk to them. So it's like that's our inspiration when it come to pocket. But when it come to business, like doing stuff like this, it will probably be people that want to do stuff like this. Yeah. But you don't see it. You see what I'm saying? You're not gonna be able to see them. So I feel like
a lot of people like if they don't got a running mate, like they not really gonna like go for something. Yeah.
And like information, like really not being afraid of information. Because I remember seeing Wallow. We had a meeting with Wallow long. He probably don't even remember. Like in he was in Whole Foods on near Spring Garden.
Yeah, I know.
And like he would have like the wealth of like information on like what it's like to have a podcast. Like he knew every detail, and it came from I guess him reading when he was away or whatever. But like he was like really detailed on that, and I think I ain't surprised to see him be successful because it's like he really dug that deep on everything that he was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's what you got. That's what you got to do. You got to have like Mayor always say, I want expert level people that working with us and working for us and like doing what we do. And I feel like you got to take that mentality. And I feel like he took that and like they scaled their shit to, you know what I mean? Like where we come from, we ain't even expected to look like that. Mm-hmm. But like I feel like you really gotta dig in that much because we could be passionate about anything else. We could be passionate about drilling. We could be passionate about jewelry. We could be passionate about chicks, whatever. Like, but it's like we need to be passionate about like business and like really figuring it out like for our community. You know what I'm saying?
I got another question, right? Go ahead, bro. That's my question. I raised for you.
So y'all got a label too, right? Yeah. So how did that come about?
I always say that was kind of Steph's idea. We both was always in the space of like we was in the entertainment space. We was already doing the shows.
It was kind of like a cheat code.
Yeah. But we wasn't really looking, or at least I would say I wasn't really looking at it like that initially. I thought about the label stuff where I just always wanted to do things with artists, but I wasn't thinking about it the way it ended up unfolding. But Steph kept saying when we would be sending out front ends, like early on, we'd be sending artists money. He used to always just say like, dang, it would be crazy if we was in a position where we was putting on the show, but then we had an artist where like people was sending us front ends and booking our artists. And then during the pandemic, when the pandemic happened, we was shut down for 14 months because we couldn't do nothing in Philly. Yeah. And during that time, you was still seeing artists working. Like Lil Baby, we had him booked before the pandemic. We had to get the makeup date after the pandemic, but Lil Baby took off even crazier. So it's like when we sit home just watching all these things, Steph used to just always be saying like, if we had an artist right now, we could still, like if we wasn't just doing it with the shows. And from there, it was just like, all right, bet, let's try it. Let's do it.
But do y'all feel like that's like a more difficult thing to succeed in than like when it comes to like dope shows? Cause like it's a person, like you investing into a person.
It's like they got a family to feed. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely more difficult.
It's more, I think both businesses got like they pros and cons.
Yeah.
It's definitely different though, because you are dealing with like humans that you close to. Like when you book an artist, you're not really close to the artist, or you're not dealing with that artist on a day to day. You're not really responsible for that artist's career per se.
It's just based for that one night, for real, for real.
For that one night, or what the people around him has, or he or she has built up, right? Because it's like Lil Baby, we not tied to his success directly.
Right.
It's his label or his people that's around him. And it's like you kind of relying on them when you booking them.
Okay, I see what you
for
mean.
a show. It's like you expect his label to blow him up to where now
So
he
it's good for
popping,
us
to
too,
bring the people out.
Yeah, because we don't really see like how long it took Lil Baby. Like all we see is Lil Baby just being who he is today. But it took him a while before we got to see him how we see him now. You know what I'm saying? So even like that's what makes it harder with the label, because it's like the patience it take. Like when me and Mir is building dope shows, it's like it's taken us 8 years for people to respect us in a certain way. It's like it wasn't like 4 years ago or 3 or 5 years ago. It was like we are where we are now. We take that culpability and being like, all right, it's going to take time, and we understand that. But like with the artists, it's like it's not going to happen right away. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to have that stick-to-itiveness, and you got to know that you're really building something. Like you may be building for a hit song, you may be building for a catalog, but you got to know that you building for something. So us personally, we be able to do that, but when you're dealing with another person, sometimes that could become difficult as well. You know what I'm saying? So it may not be happening fast enough, but you know, you just gotta keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you guys like find like-minded people like with yourself? Say for instance somebody wouldn't find, all right, say you got a kid in the hood from wherever y'all from West. Say you from West, you don't got no guidance, no father home, mom works a lot, whatever.
Yeah.
How does that kid find those like-minded people for him? Like how he trying to elevate? How would he able to find that? Like how you guys did it?
But y'all found it in like a weird way, right? Because it was like, because of like y'all said somebody died.
No, I mean, I think it still was people that was, I think like schools is a good way. Like, I feel like, I can't speak for all schools, but I feel like Harity, I could think of a few prominent men that was there when I was there, or even before me, that I feel like was trying to pour into the kids. I would say probably starting there, or just people in your neighborhood that's like, that you feel like is doing what you want to do, or trying to connect with people that you feel like is moving or thinking. Like, I know when I was younger, I used to look up to certain people, or like, even when he mentioned my cousin Ricky, that's how like we met each other. But like, I got close to Rick really because he was doing a lot of this stuff that I felt like I wanted to do, or I could see myself doing. So he was my older cousin. So it was just like, all right, bet I'm latching on to him, or I'm asking him like, can you come scoop me? He had just as much to do with who I am today as my brother I'm talking about that I lost, because he was showing me like the party world through his lens. Okay. So I feel like I think it could come
Like
from all different ways.
thing.
For sure.
Yeah, it's just difficult for like young people to really find that nowadays. That's the only problem.
But I feel like too, I think on the flip side of that too, is I feel like we didn't have social media when we was growing up. So a lot of it was just within too. Like when I was younger, I used to be walking around saying, I'm going to be a millionaire one day. I'm going to do certain things. So I think it's like, I think that like being grounded with God, number one, and then like really pouring into yourself and like saying like, praying on certain things and saying like, God put certain people in my life, or you seeking out people to like, all right, bet I'm gonna see how it work with this person, or I'm gonna try to get closer to this person. It could be people around you. I think you could figure it out in a bunch of different ways, but I think being submitted in your faith and like being confident in yourself is probably like where it started, because it wasn't no like real mentors like that. It wasn't people like how it is now where it's like, oh, sit down and I'm gonna give you the game. It wasn't like that when I was growing up. It was more like me just seeing things in people and just taking things from people like, dang, I like how this person rock, or I like this person keep telling me be a man of my word. So like I'm gonna listen to that and I'm gonna take that on. Like it was just being a sponge of everything that was around me, not necessarily like in a mentor sense. I feel like how it is today with social media, where it's like you could DM somebody and you might have had lunch with them and they give you the whole rundown on the business, or you got podcasts where people you could learn about businesses. I sit sometimes and watch podcasts and learn about businesses. So I think it starts within. I think a lot of times we got it in us already to be like, this what I'm on. Like this, like how y'all did. Y'all said we gonna start a podcast and y'all doing it. It's like it's about doing it and being on it. Like I started throwing parties. I was in my mom's basement. It wasn't like I was at Live on Sundays. It was like I started where I was able to do it. It was 60 people in my mom's basement. And I took that and grew it to where like we was at the Wells Fargo and it's 20,000 people sold out. It was me feeling like I got faith in myself and faith in God that like I'm gonna be able to really get to wherever I see. Like I feel like I always said since a young boy, if I could see it, I could do it. And I think the youth need to be thinking like that.
That's deep.
Yeah.
The youth be so quick to crash out nowadays. They don't even think like, oh, it's more to life. I can actually do something else.
Yeah.
I call it like the product of an environment thing, but I never wanted to choose that route either though. I was never looking at it that. I always look at it from like because you see so much bullshit growing up, you just be like, damn, I can't go out like that.
Yeah.
Right.
My mom told me not to touch the hot stove, so I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna get burnt.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just always looked at it like that. But some people are not fortunate enough to see it like that. But when you guys, how was it like getting the venues, like booking the venues out in the beginning? Like was it like tough, like even getting the venues and everything at first?
Early on, we booked the Fillmore first, and we just contact the people at the Fillmore, and they had like a deposit structure on how they wanted to get paid for the venue, and we ended up booking it like that. It took a little while to get it booked, but once we got it booked, that's how it worked. But like our name kind of grew to where as though after we started doing like a couple consecutive shows, it was easy to book like any venue. Like now we can book anything from like we have conversations with arenas all the time, but like even like all the way up to like stadium level stuff. So it's like
Easy.
So it's just like just putting in the work and just really starting and growing it after we did the Fillmore a few times, and then we moved up because we sold out every indoor venue in Philly. We sold out the TLA, the Fillmore, the Met, the Leocore Center, the Wells Fargo Center. Every indoor venue in the whole in the city.
Insane.
So
Because as a company, we probably like 35 shows in. We got 90% sellout rate, which means we just sell out 90% of the shows we do. And I feel like we scaling up. Like I feel like 2025 is going to be a massive year. Like we really we building staples here in Philly. So like we got our birthday bash staple, which is more like young hip hop. So all like this year we had like Friday, Boss Man, D-Lo, Rob 49, Skilla Baby.
The one that
that was at Temple.
Crazy. Yeah.
And then our festival that we do is more like just the biggest artists that's around us at that time, or that we feel like we connected to, or our curation of like the biggest artists. And then we're doing Fall Classic, which is going to be like all the legends in the game. So like some of the guys we started working with early on, like your Fabs, your Jeezys, your Jada Kisses, like that type of structure, more like legends.
yeah.
So those is 3 events that's every year that we gonna continue to scale up, and then bringing like we still do like anniversary shows. That was something that we introduced to like the world. Honestly, we did Meek Mill 10th year anniversary show at the Wells. We did Freeway 25th anniversary for his first album. We just did Young Guns anniversary show for their first album.
Juvenile.
Then we got Juvenile in December. We doing the 25th anniversary for Back That Ass Up, which is like a moment in the culture. So it's crazy to just see like an idea
Like
that we
legendary
once
stuff
thought of.
going on.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because like I feel like y'all really like tapped in, because y'all going from the the OGs,
Yeah, like
the classic.
everybody,
Always
yeah.
got the old ladies that got their jazz music and all that. They can dance.
yeah.
And then you got the young boy shit. That's
I always
crazy.
say as a brand, like we trying to hit everybody from 8 to 80. Like literally anybody, we trying to touch everybody. And we didn't get to the point where like we doing arenas, but we also will still do a Fillmore show. So it's like it's not like it's just one way with us as a brand.
Like
it's
a big show, and
right.
that's
We'll do a
it.
big show and then turn around and
Do a couple-
do a 2,500 seat.
Yeah.
And you gotta think about it like the age bracket we at. Like we seen like Hove come up, you know what I'm saying? We seen like the state properties of the world, and we get to see like everybody that's new. Like we get to see everybody, Rod 49, Skilla Baby, like, you know what I mean? We got that whole wide range. So we could book for that whole wide range. It ain't just like we just stuck in one era. We kinda got caught in multiple eras that we could respect and understand, and we ain't lose touch on it. So I feel like that's unique about us.
So do y'all personally stay tapped in with like the artists to see like who's hot or not?
Always.
for sure, all the time.
Always, yeah.
All the time.
And when it comes to like the dates, do y'all like plan it like all right, so like the artist for the young guys is gonna be during this time of the year because this time of the year we gonna get the most people to go to that show. Does it go like that too, or is it just
Kinda.
random? Like, all right, we gonna do it like that.
I don't really feel like we set it up like that in the beginning. When we first did Birthday Bash, it just ended up being initially it was supposed to be Dope shows started in March. So it was COVID. So I think our first Wells Fargo date was in February, but then it got pushed back to April. And we just realized like April is a good spot in the city. The colleges is still here. They haven't leave yet. I think that's a huge thing that we learned. When we first started out, it was just like about our city and we felt like we could sell it. We gonna market it till we get it sold out. But when you start doing a bunch of shows and you got massive shows, you do want to focus on like when the colleges is in town because that's an influx of students or influx of people just
Going
in the
out
city
looking for stuff
that's
to
looking
do.
for stuff to do for sure.
How did you guys like build your team?
Our video guy, Raj, Mir knew him.
I feel like it started out with like people that was like the party world and the concert world is so close just in terms of entertainment that like we had some core people. I would like Raj is who he just was talking about. He was our VJ, but he like me and Raj used to do flyers back in the day, and he had like he was
He
creative.
worked for Rockefeller for a little bit.
Yeah, he was. He had a bunch of stuff going on, and he was close to us. And then like Ed was a party promoter when I was a party promoter, but he was doing like some stage management stuff for like another concert promotion company before we had started Dope Shows. So once we started Dope Shows, it was just like, all right, you already got the expertise in that way. And then our DJ was A Boogie. He was my DJ when I was doing the party stuff. So it was like, all right, we're gonna make him the official DJ. And then along the way, we just started finding just other people to like. Some people people will refer people to us, like, oh, this person do this well, or like this person do security well, or with this different areas. I feel like, but with it both being entertainment, the party stuff, the party world gave us like a lot of the people that we could use for the concert stuff.
So as of right now, do y'all feel like y'all experts when it comes to the whole game?
As far as concerts, for sure.
Oh wow.
And the label stuff. I feel like the concerts, we got 8 years in the concert space for Dope Shows, and then we got 2 years in on the label. I feel like, of course, doing something for 8 years, you're gonna know more, you're gonna have more experience, more at bats with that. But I feel like we definitely experts just in the culture. And like what we built with Dope Shows has became like the staple for the world, for real. Like how people trying to do the production, even like with us adding things like Steph, when we was working with Durk, we was doing a show at the Man. It was like 10,000 seats. We sold it out. And Steph, we was talking to Durk one day, and Steph was saying to Durk, like, yo, I feel like you like a rock star. Even though you're a rapper, you still got like a rock star component. And he was like, I think you should add a live band to your show. Like, we gonna add a live band for our show. We gonna get like, we had got the drummers, the pianists, all this from Philly. It was all Philly guys. And we did the show sold out. It was crazy. It was Durk's first time ever performing with a band. Durk loved it. He ended up taking all them Philly guys on tour for the last 2 years. And like that was something that like literally came from us just having a conversation with Durk, and it changed his career. So like seeing those moments in the culture where it's like that, or like seeing artists now where it's like every time we see somebody doing an anniversary show, it's like we know that didn't exist before us.
Basically like innovating shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Way.
All right, so I wanted to ask y'all, how do you guys deal with like do you guys get stressed out a lot when it come to like getting everything together?
I
Like,
don't
say
know.
for instance, the show y'all got coming up. Do you guys like think about it like, damn, like I gotta make sure everything right?
I think we just take it all in stride. We've done so many of them that we just try to like. We always working every day, so we always planning for like for a lot of moments. So it's like I feel like we kind of planning ahead of time to like take that stress away and just kind of like ease into it, like to where those like when we get to the show, we already got the run of show done. We already got who's doing what confirmed. We already got the person that's going to run the dressing rooms. We already got the person that's going to run the production. So I feel like just planning out and planning ahead of time, I feel like the planning is really how you take the stress away. It's still stressful. I mean, it's still things that's going to come up, but it's like you just take it all in stride. We done so many shows and like, just being in the Wells Fargo and doing that and seeing how massive that feel is just like you kind of get that stick-to-itiveness to like just push through. So I feel like, I mean, we have our moments of stress, but I feel like we try to manage it.
So now that y'all experts, right? Which drawing was like more difficult to plan? This one, like y'all biggest drawing ever, or the first one when y'all didn't really have no experience at all?
I feel like the first time we went to the Wells Fargo, I remember like we had a blueprint at that time. So like, let's just say for the sake of talking, like for a show we create, it might be 10 documents, like 10 different documents that you working on every day that lead up to the show. Like I Steph saying, the run a show, like the order a show, the setup for backstage, just all of this different stuff. The first time we went to Wells Fargo, it was like we had this blueprint of these 10 documents that we know for each show. With that being such a massive arena, it was like it might be 17 things that you got to do versus the 10. So the 10 was already a lot, or it could be stressful. So to add on like the 7 more things that you got to do, and adding on like at that time the most seats we had ever did was 10,000. So it's like that's 20,000. So you adding on 10,000 seats and you adding on more workload to your day, and now you got more artists to try to sell it out. I feel like the first time we did it was like, it was a learning experience. Okay. And then after that, I feel like now when we go in arenas, it's like we used to doing the 17 documents. Now we got that in our wheelhouse. So
Right.
I feel like the first one was tough. Like even walking out, like I was used to walking out and seeing 3,000 fans, 5,000, even 10,000 fans at that time. But walking out and seeing like, I used to go here when AI used to play. Like I remember being a kid in this arena and to walk out on the stage and see people literally to the
Damn,
roof.
mama, we made it.
It was like this crazy.
Yeah, we got out there and had to talk, and I forgot everything I wanted to say. I did.
So y'all feel like that was your moment, and y'all was like,
Yeah.
It was the moment y'all looked back, y'all was like, damn.
That was that moment.
It was that
to me.
jump.
Like it was coming out before that show, Durk show when we did the 10,000 was a moment. Like it was like we came because during the pandemic they made people feel like people would never gather again. Like I remember feeling like, dang, I don't know if we could ever do this again. Like it's a virtual thing now. So to like
Virtual concert.
We were playing in drive-through concerts.
It was all kind of stuff happening.
Y'all was still working though. Y'all had the job.
We was still grinding every day during the pandemic.
Yo, that's
14 months.
crazy.
Couldn't make no money. Couldn't do
honestly,
nothing.
did y'all think it was over at some point or nah?
I just felt like it could have never been over. I just knew the world would come back to normal. But when you watch,
we sent out a deposit during the pandemic, like to Durk. Like
Yeah.
that show that we had
Yes.
after the pandemic, we sent Durk. I mean, we might have 60,000, something like that. We sent them money during the pandemic.
All right,
we
so
knew,
y'all already knew, like, it's
the
just a
moment
matter
that
of
it
time.
came back, we was on it.
Y'all was out here.
Yeah.
but walking out of that show was kind of like, we back. And it was like, that was the most people at that time. But then the Wells was just like, this is a legendary venue for our city.
Hell yeah.
So
There would be celebrations going on.
we don't really, honestly, I feel like we don't really celebrate that much. Like we kind of just like on to the next. Like when we did the Wells Fargo, we sold it out that night. We both we couldn't believe it when it was over. We was like, all right, bet we about to book the arena in Boston.
Yeah.
It wasn't like,
Niggas say we need a TD.
that's where we went. We went to
Y'all went to the Garden after that?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
shit.
it was kind of just, I feel like that's how it always been for us. It's like we don't really Like we trying to build, like Steph said, we trying to build a 200, 300, 400 million dollar
Coachella
business.
vibes.
Yeah,
Like,
so it's
all
not
that
about getting caught up in the like no one win. It's like the win is when our families and our legacy could be like, bet my dad, my grandpa, whatever, they built this business that was worth 400 million, and like I'm a trust fund kid, and like that, like that, I feel like that's the celebration. That we
Really,
look
and
like.
really
basically,
believe
like-
that though, because like where we come from, like for hip hop to be our culture, and like we should have people. We believe that we should have people in the culture, like from the culture, putting on events from the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like because when you go, I mean, we work with Live Nation. You go behind the scenes, it's like it ain't that many people that's like us, or like even come from where we come from, or even have the perspective that we have. So it's like that's important for us. It's like we should be able to like have a representation in that world. You know what I'm saying? So like we always felt like that was like we had to have that. You know what I mean? So even like when we look at places, I think Rolling Loud, them guys. I talked to the guy Matt a couple of times when I was seeing him in Miami, but I feel like they from the culture in their own way, and that's why that works so well. I feel like we need to have our representation in the culture in our way, and like have it work well too. You know what I mean?
So what's like a day to day is for y'all? Like
We working every day.
Every day. So
Every day.
literally like
7
we
days.
both-
Y'all don't take no breaks.
No, 5 days.
Yeah.
We take off on the weekends.
Yeah, y'all treat it like a 9 to 5.
like a
Like
9 to
clock in.
5. Yeah.
And we do this, and we be going to the studio in the mix. Like we in the studio with Toure, like multiple.
Yeah, so
times
like a
week.
regular day could look like we start work 10 o'clock. We might not be done at 6, 7, like a regular work day. But we might be done at 6, and Toure got a studio session from 6 p.m. to 2,
4.
3 in the morning. And we in the studio. Then tomorrow we might start at 12 because we had a late studio session, but we still working every day, Monday through Friday. And I feel like the benefit is we both worked corporate jobs before. So it's not like
Y'all used to it.
we used to getting up and being on it, and like this really our lives too. Like I love this. I wouldn't want to do nothing else. So like it don't even feel like work all the time. Like it feel like we just always planning, we always building.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think that's how it should be. You got to follow your passion. You know what I mean? Like, from where we come from, like you were saying, like, my mom, they don't really want me to do this. But I feel like if you passionate about it, like, think about where it could take you. Like, I be looking at academics all the time, and I'm like, I feel like he really is. He's smart. Like, he be knowing, like, everything that's going on. And it's like he took it and he scaled it, and he making every day somebody is sending him money to post on his page. Literally. Every day he getting money from the views that he getting on YouTube. Like I just all of that to me, and it's like it started from just a concept, and then he's streaming, and it's like that's really the culture, and like people looking at his stream for what just happened today. Oh, Kendrick dropped this Drake, like they looking at him for the feedback, and he really pioneering that, and it's like that came from his passion. I feel like you gotta follow your passion. You know what I mean?
This gonna work itself out.
If it's gonna work itself out, even with guys that's rapping, it's like if that's your passion, really put your all into it. Like really go at the level like you really you him already. You know what I'm saying? You really have to put that work in. It's like it can't just be a casual thing. And people don't see that like with dope shows, but it's like me and Mary, we know that. Like every day we training every day. It's like every day. It's like the Michael Jordan thing, the Kobe Bryant thing, like LeBron, like taking all the shots you got to take at practice. So you know when you get in the game, you going to hit that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like most successful people don't stop working.
Yeah, for sure.
I seen that in like the people I be seeing like on the internet. I'm like, yo, these motherfuckers don't stop working. Like,
for sure.
It's always work. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what takes you to like a different level.
Yeah, but when you love it, it don't feel like work.
Can't get complacent.
Yeah, for sure. But say for instance somebody wanted to start doing like what y'all do. How would y'all recommend them starting?
I would say figure out a budget. So like most of our all of our shows start with the P&L. So a profit and loss sheet. So whereas like we coming up with all the expenses, we start with the expenses, like how much is the show gonna actually cost, and then we build like what we trying to make off of no understanding the expenses. So I would say start with a budget of like how much money you trying to spend for talent. If you trying to spend a certain amount of money, like where do you feel like these artists could go? Like far as like where do you feel like your reach is? Are you trying to do 500 seats? Are you trying to do 1,000 seats? Are you trying to do 20? Like for us, we started out at 2,500 seats because we was getting Fabulous and Jadakiss, and it was like at that point I was already doing like 1,000 people, 1,500 people on a party scene. So it was like it didn't make sense to start at 1,000 people because I felt like we could have brought 1,000 people out with no artists. So it's like just understanding like, all right, bet if you're gonna get these artists where you think they fit best at. And sometimes like when we first did Gunna was doing 25, he was doing 250 seats everywhere in the world. This was when that first project took off where it had the green cover.
Drip season 3.
Drip season 3.
And
so
we heard that.
We heard that.
And
We
was
seen
like,
the impact in Philly, and we was like, we gonna take Gunna to the TLA. We gonna do 1,000 seats with Gunna. And at that time, he wasn't even doing it. He couldn't even believe that he sold out 1,000. That was his first 1,000 seater ever sold out. But it was us like looking at it like, no, we ain't gonna do 250 seats because we know like what this is in Philly and how people rocking with it. So I would say just figuring out like what venue is gonna work best, get the venue, get the artist, market the show.
Yeah. He started heating up during that process because I remember they didn't even want to let us book him because he was having like issues at other venues because he was new to the game and he wasn't moving like how they want you to move when you in the game right away. And they didn't even want to have Gunna at that venue that we ended up doing it at. But he got so hot that it was like, oh no, y'all can have it here. Like he was really his project was going that crazy. So
how did y'all initially link up with Toure?
DJ Boo. Honestly, we had the idea to start the label. We had a few artists that we was looking at from the city. We just started reaching out to different people that we knew that could have knew the artist. We ended up talking to Boo. Boo had a relationship with Toure from when he was younger. Boo put us on the phone with Toure. We ended up setting up a meeting at Ocean Prime. And we went to Ocean Prime. It was like a random Tuesday. We was in there just talking to Toure. We was telling him just about what we was planning to do and how we wanted him to be like our flagship artist and the first artist on Dope Records. And he believed in us. We believed in him. And we ended up getting the paperwork done and we signed him.
Yeah. And he also said on our interview that y'all gave him like creative control.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like doing that is like it makes like the artist go crazy because y'all gave him like that control for him to just like
a freedom basically. Not feel like he locked down or nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean he could be him. Like he him 100% in the studio. Like, you know what I mean? Like whatever he trying to come up with, we facilitate. He asks us like, what you think about this, what you think about that, what you think about this line or whatever, and we might place production or whatever like that, but we letting him be him because I feel like that's how you're gonna get the best version of Toure.
Yeah, for sure.
For any artist, for that matter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask my patented question. We all feeling in the city right now?
I like, of course, Core. I feel like he going crazy. Lil Kai from Jerome. GTS. I like all the guys. I like the energy. I personally, and I tell Toure this, I like the energy. I want us to be like Detroit. I want us to be like Atlanta. Like I want us all to get some money in the industry. Like instead of like really going at it with each other, it's like let's get some money for real. Because them guys is running around every weekend picking up 50 and 60,000. We need to be doing the same thing. Like we need to be doing the same thing. Like they like all of the stuff we got going on, and like I get it. It's like it's street stuff, and then like people died, and that shit changed everything. But it's like I really be wanting that energy for us. It's like I feel like all the guys got talent, all of them, like whoever you want to name in their own way. But I feel like, you know, I definitely fuck with Core. I definitely fuck with the guys that I named. It's probably more people that I'm forgetting. I'm trying to think who else. I can't really think of the other ones, but
that's a solid four.
I fuck with them people I named though.
I'm gonna just piggyback. I don't got nobody different than what Steph said, and I do feel like we always is pushing in that way. Like even when we first started Dope Shows before we had the label, it was always about like giving Philly artists an opportunity, and like trying to showcase that Philly got talent to the world, or like even putting local guys on the same stage with these big artists that's running around picking up these 50, 60s. So it's like I just want to see Philly be successful as a whole. Yeah. Like I feel like it helped everybody, help all our families out for real, because my family's still walking around here. All of our families are still living here and walking around here. So it's like the more money, because we always say, like, when you look at these artists, when they get big, they really like Fortune 500 companies. For real, for real. It's
No,
like,
that's a fact.
Yeah.
Now,
they literally are employing so many people. Their business is doing multi-millions of dollars a year. And it's easy to get caught up in it and just think like, oh, they rappers and it's drill and it's this. But it's like, you got some rappers that's big as these major companies. And I feel like Philly artists they don't seem like they embrace that enough. Of like, that they could really be, they could have enough money generating, like if you a Nike or a McDonald's or whatever. Like Travis Scott is huge in the world. Like he doing business at a high level. There's nothing stopping a Philly artist from being there unless they get caught up in a bunch of nonsense or they get like all the distractions that the city got to offer.
And we always been passionate about Philly artists for sure. Like from back, I mean, like I said, Pound Side Pop, Sim Santana, Rocky, Young K, D Sturdy, Toure, Leaf Ward. These are all people that been on our stages before, like early on. You know what I'm saying? Like even when people wasn't even thinking about booking them in that way, it's like we done seen artists perform and then like go and get a deal based on that being part of their marketing package that they marketing to the label. So like we always been passionate about Philly artists, and we want that to be known because we want y'all to make it. There's a lot of money in the music business. There's a lot of money in doing shows. There's a lot of money doing all that stuff. But we just got to figure out a way to like really like just really get it. You know what I mean? Like these other cities do, because they getting it. Like we got a whole Detroit show now. Like all of them guys is picking up cash when they come. So it's like we done had that many a times. So like we really gotta get that energy going. And I feel like we should be like at the forefront of that.
for sure.
We had Kai from Jerome on, right? And he said like drill music was ugly. Do you think the drill music itself hold the artists back in the city, or because y'all hosting the shows and stuff, y'all wouldn't want someone rapping or beefing with the whole city on the show? Do you think that's holding them back?
Like making it mainstream too.
Yeah, I think we gotta be we have to be a little bit more versatile. I think first and foremost, an artist gotta be very, very, very his story gotta be very genuine. Like when you look at a Rod Wave, like he's telling his story in a genuine way. But I think like you gotta be clever, even when you telling the drill stuff. Like I feel like you do gotta add into like other things. Like I feel like you gotta open up to like a bigger cast of people. You know what I mean? So like I think that's something that we need to do more of, and not just be about like dissing people ups in a video all day, all the time. It's like a person gotta want to ride down the street listening to it too. So, but I do feel like they need to be consistent with who they are. But I feel like you just gotta find your lane within that and make it palatable for everybody. The more people you can make your music palatable for, that's the bigger you could be. You know what I'm saying? If you only going to talk to people that's in North Philly only, it's like where you gonna go? You only gonna talk to those people that's in North Philly only. You gotta be able to talk to a lot of people. The more people you can relate to, the more people you can sell music to. So I think when you look at the artists that get to a bigger level, that's what they're able to do. So I can't diss the drill people what they doing, like, and what, like everything that they doing, if that's how they helping feed themselves. But I say like just open it up and just learn how to like communicate to a wider pile of the people. That's what I would say.
Yeah, Wallow told us that too on the podcast side. He told us we got to think like way bigger.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can't just think about Philly. Philly's a big city, but you got to think outside of Philly.
You got to think outside. Yeah, you got to think like what the kid from that's in Idaho want to hear. It's like he a fan too. He gonna buy your merch too. And thinking about that, like your merch, like all of these things, all of these transactional things that's like you want to develop that fan and speak into that your community. They gotta buy your merch. You want them to buy your tickets. You want them to buy like just into you. It's like it just can't be all death and destruction. It gotta be a little bit more than that. And I think people like Rod Wave do that. Like it's crazy, like what he do as far as like the depression stuff, but he make it like so palatable, and people feel like when his uncle died, it's like damn, rip Uncle D. It's like they connected with him. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like
listen to him late night, all that. You
got to connect with your fan base, and every artist we ever work with, we stress that to them, whether they do it or they don't. I feel like you have to do it. That's part of the recipe. So even we're looking what Drake dropped the other day with the 100 gigs or whatever thing is like. looking back at that footage, it's like he connecting with his fans like in a way like, damn, you look at that and you're like, damn, I remember that song. And like he made it like that. And he was telling the person to do this and him and the engineer was chopping it up like this. It's like, that's that connectivity. You gotta have that. That's priceless. That's worth millions for real. So
y'all really analyze the content.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So after 8 years in the business, like, what's the biggest lesson y'all learned?
Don't fall in love with one idea.
I was gonna say that was the first thing that popped in my head. Don't fall in love with one idea. When we first started, we used to curate these shows in our mind, and if we couldn't get, let's say if one artist fell through, we would like hate the idea at that point, or like feel like, oh, it ain't as strong. So like now we kind of pivot all the time. Like it's not really like it's just a day in the life for us. It's like, all right, if this don't work out, we have so many shows that don't work out. Like when I tell you that we done did 35 shows as a brand, we might have had another 50 shows that just never made it to happen. So like just always having that, like being able to pivot and being able to be like, all right, that idea didn't work out. Cool, ain't no need to getting down on it. Like you lost money on that. Keep it moving. Like one thing we always say is like, man, we gotta keep the ball moving.
Yeah.
Like don't fall in love with one idea and always keep the ball moving. I would say like it's two things that we live by. Like we gonna get up. When we lose 100,000 tomorrow, today, we might feel like, damn, that was crazy. But tomorrow we gonna get right back up and be back trying to figure it out. It's not like nothing is about to make us stop.
And even when you win, you gotta get up too. Like you could make $1 million and it's like, I'm still gonna get up tomorrow like I didn't. Like you still gotta take that approach every day.
What's you guys' last message to the world?
Come out September 29th.
Dope Fest.
Dope Fest.
Lil Durk, 42 Doug, G Herbo, Cash Cobain. Cash Cobain, another like he doing the drill stuff, but it's like it's fun. It's like y'all gotta talk to the ladies some more. Like y'all, like I know y'all be getting it in. Like y'all gotta talk to the ladies a little bit. I know y'all killing the drilling, but like talk a little bit. You know what I mean? A little bit. So I like him for that. 4 bats. We got
Lil Papa, Lil Kai from Jerome, D Sturdy, Maddox, Wi-Fi Funeral.
Y'all got the underground rappers too.
And Yo Chubbs. We get Yo Chubbs, another person.
That's different.
Yeah. So y'all podcast, the realest podcast ever. So
that's come out to the festival. Dope shows. We never stopping.
Never.
We gonna always have shows in the city. Definitely make sure you tap in with us. We got September 15th. We doing the Fillmore. We got Babyface Ray, Icewear Vizzo, and Peasy. And in November, we doing our Fall Classic event, which that's gonna be huge for the city as well. So
and Juvenile. That's an old head joint. December 5th, 25th anniversary.
Come out, back that ass up.
Gonna be rolling.
So, I feel like we never gonna stop. This is something that was homegrown. We love our city. We gonna always pour into our city. We gonna always try to give back. And
we
keep
Philly
up with
got the
brand.
most sauce for real.
No bullshit.
I ain't gonna lie. Like we travel, we see different people, but it's like
we was in
like,
Miami. We was like,
nah. It's like we got the most sauce. We gotta put it out there a little bit better. That's all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Y'all wanna tag y'all socials where they can find y'all Instagrams, dope shows,
Yeah, so it's dope _shows dope records. My personal Instagram is my full name, Jamir Shaw.
Mine's is Steph.Piner on Instagram. And we on Twitter. We ain't really heavy on Twitter, but we got Twitter, we got TikTok, all that stuff. So on dope shows.
Y'all got a YouTube channel?
We got a YouTube channel. We need to post on that.
Y'all gotta do like little vlogs and
we
stuff.
Gotta do the vlogs. Yeah, y'all gotta do that shit. The quick hitters and all that. That shit all go up.
Yeah, we gotta do the vlogs.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, make sure you guys come to the festival. We'll be in attendance. And make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys on the next one.